we're going to talk about clout. And when I mean clout, I mean doing anything for a fan, for a follow. You know, we've come from where people got further on their God-given talent, and now they're getting further because they made girls eat spaghetti off the floor. Or, you know, they put on some electronic gloves like that time you was telling me, beat up a TV. Like, you know what I mean? It's like anything.
And then I remember the TV. I think that was Trippy Red, and he had on it was like electronic brass knuckles. He just went ham on his TV. I was like, "Hi, bro."
Yeah, but I just feel like this is a serious problem right now. So once again, as somebody who, you know, I look at a lot of music every day, I see a lot of the younger people. They're focusing on, to be cool, I gotta have this big old chain. When all reality, you get rid of that chain, and where's the rest of your value? Does that take away all your money? If you take away that chain, you know, that's a question. And then the saddest thing is seeing them holding their little cups. Everybody hold a little cup. Okay, we know. I mean, it's like we've popularized drugs. But the problem is, like, we have some of these big stars out here that could be leaders, and they're just rapping about drugs. You know, like, don't get me wrong, in my day, like, oh, we rapped about gang stuff, drug stuff, all that. But we didn't make it a way of life for children. Yeah. You know what I mean? It was like a problem for older adults. And now you got people like the Kardashians making drama popular. So that's what it is. It's like, for the clout, it's the drama. The drama makes you popular. He's smiling. He's got so much. You know, like the Kardashians. So much.
It's so
I think partly, you know, the Kardashians started a lot of it. I think like people like Lil Yachty and people like that also encouraged a lot of it. What do you think, Jeremy?
Oh man, I saw Paul's face and I was like, I feel like I could read his mind.
It sells. Like you saying with the Kardashians, they were kind of, I mean, really, they were like the pioneers with that.
Oh yeah.
You know, dropping the sex tape, and then get a reality show, and then just grows from there. And it's like it was Kim, and then what? Chloe has her own stuff.
And then Kylie
and Kendall, they're a whole nother thing. Like that's not even Kardashians anymore. Like the Jenners have their own separate brand. Like it's crazy how much they've evolved.
But it almost seems like a drop tactic now. Get into a scuffle right before you drop it out.
Right, and they always know when to come out with stuff. You ever notice that? It's like they have perfect timing.
Kris Jenner is the queen of
momager.
Queen of darkness. I don't know. Like she just knows how to run the game. Because literally, like this, like you said, it'll be like she knows the perfect time to drop thing. Like
it's quiet, nothing's going on, and then bam,
and boom, Kylie Jenner's pregnant. Like it'll be something crazy like that. Or Chloe's being cheated on again. Like and you're just like, how did that get out?
Or this whole thing.
They're leaking their own stuff.
And Kim and Pete Davidson.
That's so crazy.
Right.
It's
not,
so
crazy.
You know, it's
coming from a dad's perspective, and this is just from a dad's perspective, but like it's sad because me as a dad, I'm not in the limelight. I'm not in the social media world. Or, you know, I'm not famous or whatever like that. So it's different. But Kanye and Kim is in the limelight. You know, famous celebrities, musicians. I don't know if they really, especially Kanye, and this is just coming from a dad's perspective. Like, does he really understand the damage you're doing to your children? I could care less about him. You know, I'm more focused on the children, especially with the way the world is nowadays. Mm-hmm. Like they're gonna have to see this for the rest of their life, and they're always gonna be able to see video articles about their dad acting like a fool. When it's like, take that stuff, don't post texts from her, or keep that like on the side behind closed doors when it comes to being parents, you know, for your children. It's just there's some things you can put out there in the limelight in social media, and there's some things I think need to stay private, especially when it deals with your children, because they're both at fault.
When I got into the music industry, I took and removed all of my daughter's stuff, my granddaughters, everything, because like I didn't want some weirdo messaging them. Right. Y'all should see the messages I get. Everybody wants me to do a mass post and expose everybody. I ain't gonna do it, y'all. But yeah, it's sad because we've gotten to a place where artistry has been replaced by popularity.
Yeah.
And, you know, it's like, do something crazy and you get 1 million views. Not that I'm hating on them, but let's take the Island Boys, for instance.
Oh, man.
Oh, man. Those are Paul's favorite people. Yeah.
I just can't believe they're real. Like, I remember the first time I saw them, I was like, is this a fever dream? Like, what?
Like, I'm not hating. Guys? I don't know where they came from. Like,
oh, me neither. Like I said, I'm sure they're fun, but I was just like, dude, this guy's is what?
They're just so outlandish, and that's it. And it's like, you know, too, and the people get ultra sensitive because they create this buzz and behavior, and then when they get the reaction from that, they're upset, they're offended. Mm-hmm. You got to understand. You want that, you got it.
Right.
You
What do
know,
you
like
say? Right.
with you gotta understand with fame and with all that money comes things.
Right.
You know, it's just like I've had a lot of people warning me about evil in the industry and they're being like, you know, vicious people, demons, whatever you want to say.
Yeah.
You know, like I'm well aware of that because there's a lot of people in this industry that do not care about people as persons. They care about numbers and the dollar sign, and it just back to what Lotto was saying about how women are treated.
Right.
You know, so for her and I, it's a harder move, but it makes you become stronger.
It
So,
does.
you know, I think that honestly, the clout rappers are dying out, literally.
Well, yeah, that's.
But I really feel like that era is coming down, even though there's a lot of them making money off what I call like it's auto tuned, it's offbeat.
Yeah.
You know, there's a lot of that. Like a quality rap is someone that will make me keep watching a video. I watched her whole video 4 times in a row. But like some people, I'll turn off in the first 10 seconds because it's just like you're not saying anything.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's a difference.
for me, I like lyrical creativity. So when I hear something that's just like, you know, just something so creative, I'm just like, ooh, that's like what I like to hear. Like when I hear something, I'm just like, dude, that's like genius. Like I can't believe you just came up with that, like that metaphor. Like it's just like how? Like it's just so
if you
impressive.
get music that gives you that feeling, like that new Nas song that just dropped with their with Premiere, where they're putting the speakers out the window, like you're vibing with that whole thing. I kept wanting to watch it again. That's quality music. And part of that, I think part of some artists' allure and success is privacy. I think these people who are all out here and putting things in people's face, I think they run their career into the ground. Yes, you can have longevity, but
no, like that. I was just gonna say, I was like, that's just a perfect example of what happened recently, or what's been happening recently with the Smiths.
Oh man,
like that's exactly how you like. You just hit it on the head. Like before we knew so much of their life, we loved Jada, we loved Will.
Yeah.
That was the Fresh Prince, you know, and we didn't think nothing of it. And now I'm just like, what is going
it's
on?
a circus. They've become the new Kardashians.
I feel horrible for everyone involved. Like,
Yeah.
bad for her. I feel bad for him. Like, it just seems like, it just seems like he's
going through something.
Yeah, like it's just his mental health just seems like it's so low right now, and it just seems like I don't want to blame Jada, but
I will.
And
I'm gonna blame love. I'm gonna blame. We'll go that route just so it's not attached to anyone's name. Just when you're emotionally just so invested in someone, it just
that happens.
It wrecks you. It wrecks you. It builds you and wrecks you. It can go either way.
You know what sent it to a level of disgust, and I actually talked to Jeremy about this. The fact that she's like, we'll discuss this on the Red Talk table.
That right there was like a big red X. Like, no.
She's using it for publicity.
Exactly. And that's a problem with her. It's ever since the whole August.
Alsina.
Yeah. Right. You know what it is? I'm thinking of Georgia, Augusta. But you know, it's like ever since all that happened with that, it's just been like downhill. Yeah. And, you know, and I love Will Smith. I think he's a great guy. I'm not going to judge him based off this because I don't think you should. You know, but to each his own. You know, but I think that a lot of the stuff he's dealing with has to deal with her, and I personally think she's toxic.
Yeah,
you know, because like you said, you know, people do things for love in relationships, and I heard you say that's true. You know, and I agree with you, but that's a different relationship because I feel like she wears the pants in that relationship. It's obvious. And poor guy is just like, I feel like he's trying to keep that whole family together.
Right.
Yeah.
And it's like, man, I think there comes a point in time where, you know, enough's enough. If you're doing it for the kids, that's the wrong way to do it.
I've noticed that
I've been there,
and I feel bad for them, for the kids. I have noticed that the kids have remained silent.
Except the one of the boys, the oldest one, I think, came out and said that's how we handle.
Jaden goofed.
That's how we do.
He goofed.
He
said that's how we do, and then
he got ripped for that one.
Someone posted a gif from the Karate Kid remake with the kid slapping him. He's like, "Is that how we do?"
That was probably that was the best part of all.
Yeah, the internet's vicious because you can't respond like that. Because as soon as Jaden opened his mouth, it was lickety split. So it was like, boom, had this one in the chamber. Like, as soon as you're ready to say something,
he was hoping to see that post come out from Jaden, like, oh, I got one.
And then it was silent because it was like, you know what? We're not on the right on this. I mean, depending on how you believe, I was in the middle of the whole situation, but it's
you know what? At the end of the day, you hope that they all get the help that they're looking for because you don't want to see that. I mean, growing up with Will Smith and the Fresh Prince and all that stuff, like, you know, we've watched him grow up from that young guy into a dad. I mean, the guy's amazing actor and stuff like that when he's not acting with his son. But it's like, it's you want to, as a dad and somebody who has compassion for people. Now that I'm older, it's like you want to see them all get help.
Mm-hmm.
You don't want to single out anybody, but to be honest, family needs help. And like you said, to put that on their little podcast, their little show, that's the wrong way to go about things.
Right. What they need to do is say, my family would like some respect for our privacy, and we're going to start getting some therapy and trying to work through this, because that's what I would like to see for them. Not that my opinion matters or that it's any of my business, but I have eyes in my head and I can see, and this is going to trickle down and affect their children. Honestly, and we talked about it a long time ago when this first started. It's like, we see that's Uncle Will. I grew up watching The Fresh Prince and all that stuff, and he had no formal acting training. He went into that just feeling it raw, and I think that's why so many people identified with him, because he just was living it raw, like he was living just as it came. So we grew up with him just as much as he grew up in that role, and so to see this person that we loved, idolized, all of that, be so self-destructive,
Right.
Yeah.
It's hard to see, we as a society hold people that we view, and I'll use that term, view. We put them on a pedestal, and sometimes we forget they're human. And a lot of people, there's a lot of trolls in this world. I got some, but they, they're so bored with their life, they like to knock people down. People thrive on destruction. You make a post about something positive, you won't get any feedback. You say, "Oh, my life is falling apart." 500. And
people feed off of that.
Yeah.
And that's sad. So it's like, that's why, despite what's going on in Ukraine and other countries, and 50 some odd gang members being shot this weekend, there was, on every channel, on every news feed, that's all it was talked about, was the slap. So that's kind of gross to me. On my on my personal TikTok, I had someone on my TikTok that was in the Ukraine, and he was in the middle of where it was being bombing, and he was hiding, and he was live on TikTok hiding. So that stuff affects me.
Right.
But this Will and Jada stuff, it's gross.
Yeah. And I think the way it was handled was really gross too. The fact that they let him stay and get his award, and everyone clapped for him, and he got an ovation. It just felt very like
gross,
futuristic, Illuminati, like dark culture, like everyone wearing the mask, and it's like with the scary music playing. Like, that's what it felt like. I was like, this man was just assaulted. Like,
I like what Jim Carrey said, because
Jim Carrey, he went in on it.
There's several different scenarios. Had it been Jim Carrey, he would have been escorted out. He would have been sued. Chris Rock didn't move forward with any suit.
And then this is the thing too, just the fact that it was Chris Rock. So, because I'm not doing stand-up actively right now, but I've come from a stand-up comedy background. Yeah. And let me tell you right now, as soon as you get on the stage, I'm prepared to beat your ass. And just the fact that Chris Rock stood his ground and let it happen, like, that was just so professional of him. But also, I wish he had done something else, because just for like comedians, it's just. Now it's just like, what's the line? Exactly. Can anyone come up, and if they don't like our jokes, they can hit us, and it's just, and everyone, the crowd, that's what you get.
And that's what a lot of comedians have come out in the last couple of days, like Amy Schumer. And
Cheryl, I think Cheryl. What's her name? I think it's Cheryl.
I don't know. It's been a bunch, but now they're like, some of them are a little nervous to actually go out now and do their shows, thinking, well, if I say something that offends this person, they're gonna come out. But see, could somebody come out and shoot them?
That has always been an unsaid rule. If you're in my audience and I'm a comedian, I'm gonna roast you.
Exactly, and that's the thing that just because I love comedy, and I live at Comedy Works. I go to a lot of comedy shows. I got tickets to see Chris Rock when he comes here already. Like, already that they push the envelope. Will Smith knows this already. So these guys push the envelope. As a comedian, since you know that with the roasting and all that stuff, you should already know, like, they really don't take that. You should take that to heart. That's their job. That's what they do. Chris Rock's been doing this for how many years? Over 20-something years. Oh yeah. And the thing and it's funny, as I was
Richard Pryor.
Right. One of the greatest. But as I was coming into the show this morning, and I had the radio on, they literally had said, the guy who was the producer of the Oscars, I think he's the first African American to to do the Oscars. Oh
It
man,
sounds familiar. I
he,
forgot his
he's.
name.
But he said that that joke that Chris Rock was not on the list of jokes he was going to tell. He threw that out there. So when I heard that, I'm like, huh. He kind of went off the cusp of some of the things he was supposed to say, and he did it. So you could take that
happens. If you got people sitting in front
Right.
of you, you're gonna
Hey,
roast
And
them.
that's crowd work. That's
I
crowd
love
work.
sitting in the front.
Me too.
I love to sit in front. I want you to joke about me. I want you to roast me. I get a kick out of it because I'm laughing. It doesn't hurt my feelings.
And especially with the sensitivity going on with their whole family, you had to know you're not beyond being picked on.
Right.
Anybody in that crowd, you're not beyond being picked on.
Right.
If you can't handle the stuff that you're doing, stop doing it.
Right.
Yeah.
See,
It's like, and I get it's sensitive for her. She had a medical condition. I 100% get the seriousness of that, but it's not like comedians have like everyone's medical records out in the crowd. I don't, no one knows anyone have. And then also just that joke was very tame, if we can be real about it. It's like, looks like you're ready for G.I. Jane 2. I wouldn't have even taken that as an insult. I'd be like,
Will
that's
should
badass.
have.
when I heard that at first, it
sounded like a compliment. It was just like, it was like a quick little jet. Like it was like someone's like, oh, looks like you're getting ready for a Rambo.
Yeah.
Like, oh, thank you. Like,
I mean, seriously, Demi Moore crushed that role.
She was.
So all of a sudden you're like, oh, okay, Jada, and then all of a sudden you realize, after it was all over and they, said, what she had. Let's say alopecia.
Alopecia.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's like, okay, I understand that, but still,
But
like,
it's-
my God, and she laughed about it.
That's what I'm saying. They
You
were
see
laughing
her
about
laughing, and he's laughing, and all of a sudden,
Yeah, but
she
she
rolls
also
her eyes.
she also laughed with. Which is gross.
Yeah, I saw that.
That's
I saw
another
that.
angle video they showed.
Yeah.
But it's
Will could have said the thing he said when he sat back down, and they could have kept it moving.
right.
But he chose to go up and smack somebody. He chose to act out of character. I'm not going to allow someone to make me act out of character.
Right.
You're an actor. You've been training for years. How you going to let someone punk you? And that's essentially what happened. You made a...
And that's what I feel horrible about for Chris Rock. Like,
yeah, you should have seen
he got
his
hit,
face
and
after.
he the fact that he apologized to and he put it like a real sincere apology. I feel like he shouldn't have had to. Like, he kept it behind, in closed doors, apologized to them, but he didn't need to do anything publicly, like when he got hit like that. And then just the other thing too, if it had been anyone else hosting, would Will Smith have done? So let's say Joe Rogan was the comedian they picked. Would he have gone up and slapped him with knowing Joe Rogan? If Dwayne Johnson was hosting the Oscars,
right.
Jason Momoa.
Yep.
If Jason Momoa was hosting, would it have been the same energy?
No, it would have been the same energy if it was anyone else. Sometimes I wonder, I wonder if it was made up, if it was planned, because a lot of people were also talking about, I wouldn't even known it was on had it not been for this.
Yeah.
It's like they're trying to revive it by bringing that drama, the clout, that all that. You know what I mean?
And if that's what it is,
Gross.
which like, and I'm not like a big conspiracy guy, but like I'll entertain stories, and I've looked into some of that, and I'm like, you know what? Some of the angles, it kind of looks like they're laughing it off after the hit. Kind of looks like he was prepped for it, like he put his face out, like, and I can see where they're coming from. And if that is the case, that's just so gross.
Yeah.
And
I don't
I'm
think
sick of, and I'm kind of just sick of this, like people doing that stuff.
Yeah.